Imagine standing in a room with your father, right? And suddenly realizing that your very existence, like your sharp, analytical, fiercely logical mind, is fundamentally at war with his unpredictable, fluctuating emotions.
Oh, that is such a powerful image.
Right. You look at the man who gave you life, and you feel nothing but this cold, hard resentment for his lack of discipline.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It really is. And in ancient Vedic frameworks, this isn't just some tense family drama. It's the literal mechanical blueprint of the cosmos.
Exactly. It's how the universe is built.
So today on the Deep Dive, we are looking at why human intelligence is biologically and astronomically wired to despise the very mind that created it.
I mean, it is the ultimate paradox of human consciousness, you know? We spend our entire lives trying to use our intellect to tame our feelings.
We really do.
But we rarely stop to consider that the intellect itself was born directly out of a catastrophic emotional breakdown.
Wow, a catastrophic emotional breakdown.
Wow. Yeah. When you dive into the ancient texts mapping the heavens, you start to realize they are actually mapping the neural pathways of our own brains. The stars are just the mirror for us.
And the focal point of that mirror today for our deep dive is Budha, Mercury.
Yes, the awakened one.
We're going to unravel the complete and honestly slightly scandalous mythological origin story of the planet that governs our logic.
And our speech and our cognitive processing.
Exactly. But this isn't going to be some dry cataloging of astronomical facts. We were tracking a celestial scandal. I mean, we've got an abduction, an ideological war, and a literal divine paternity test.
It's basically primetime drama.
It really is. And we're doing this to understand a precise formula the ancients believed actually created human intelligence.
Right. And to understand that formula, we have to start with the foundational geometry of the universe before Mercury even existed.
Set the stage for us.
So we have to look at the environment that precipitated his birth. In this cosmic architecture, you have Brihaspati and his wife Tara.
Okay, Brihaspati and Tara.
Right. We know Brihaspati, who is Jupiter, represents the ultimate expansion of higher wisdom and unshakable dharma.
The heavyweights of virtue.
Exactly. And Tara is the very embodiment of absolute virtue.
So they are the anchor.
Precisely.
If you think about it in terms of human psychology, Brihaspati and Tara represent a state of complete, flawless equilibrium.
Yes, a perfect balance.
It's that rare moment in life where your deepest philosophical understanding aligns perfectly with your moral actions. There's no friction.
No hypocrisy at all.
Wisdom and virtue are perfectly married.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is a closed, perfect system.
Right.
But, and this is the crucial part, a closed system cannot generate anything new.
Oh, interesting.
Right. It requires an external catalyst to spark creation. It requires disruption. And in this mythological architecture, the great disruptor is Chandra, the moon.
Chandra, representing the human mind.
Yes, the relentless mind.
The restless, perceiving, just constantly hungry engine of thought and feeling. And our sources are very specific about the state Chandra was in when this disruption occurred, right?
Very specific. He wasn't just passing by.
He was in what the text defined as a, quote, perverse fallen state.
Yeah, and this is where we have to look really closely at the mechanics of time in these traditions. The texts don't just say the moon was having a bad day.
Right.
They specify that the critical event, Chandra's abduction of Tara, occurred on the Chaturthi day of the Bhadra month.
Wait, the fourth day of the lunar fortnight. Why that specific temporal coordinate?
Well, it's fascinating. In Vedic timekeeping, or the Tiki system, the Chaturthi is often ruled by highly volatile, obstacle-creating energies.
Oh, so it's astronomically unstable.
Exactly. The gravitational and electromagnetic pull of the moon on this specific day, in the specific month of Bhadra, is said to create a profound disturbance in the subtle body.
Wow.
Think about the neurobiology of it. Our bodies are largely water.
Right. Deeply susceptible to lunar phases.
Exactly. So on this day, the ancient sages calculated that the fluid dynamics of the mind reach a state of acute vulnerability. The natural filters of logic just dissolve.
They just wash away.
Yeah. The mind becomes obsessed, fixated, and suddenly capable of overriding its own moral conditioning.
That is fascinating because it strips away the idea of pure free will.
It really does.
It suggests that there are environmental, temporal conditions where the mind is literally like chemically or gravitationally primed to make catastrophic errors.
Yes, exactly.
So Chandra, under this heavy astrological affliction, looks at Tara, he looks at absolute virtue and decides he just must possess her.
And he abducts her.
He abducts her. The mind actively hijacks virtue, tearing it away from wisdom.
And notice the sequence here. The mind doesn't attack wisdom directly.
Oh, right. Chandra doesn't try to fight Brihaspati.
No, because the afflicted mind avoids confronting higher knowledge. It knows it will lose that debate.
That makes so much sense.
Instead, it rationalizes its desires by capturing virtue.
Yeah.
I mean, when we do something we know is wrong, what's the first thing our mind does?
It tries to reframe the action as somehow virtuous.
Exactly. It kidnaps the concept of goodness to serve a fallen desire.
But wait, I have to challenge the premise here.
Sure.
If Tara represents absolute transcendent virtue, how is she susceptible to being kidnapped?
That's a great question.
Doesn't true virtue imply a kind of impenetrable sovereign defense? How does the messy, fluctuating mind just walk in and steal the wife of the dev guru?
Well, the answer lies in the nature of virtue itself. Virtue, in isolation, is passive.
Passive.
Yeah, it is a state of being, an inherent goodness. Wisdom Brihaspati is the active force that protects and contextualizes virtue.
Oh, I see.
So when the mind operates with sheer, overwhelming, obsessive force, and wisdom is momentarily distracted or absent,
Passive virtue gets swept away.
exactly, swept away by the tide of emotional justification, the mind is incredibly powerful. When it wants something, it will violently reconfigure your moral landscape to get it.
So Brihaspati realizes his moral landscape has just been shattered.
Yes.
The dev guru, the heavyweight of the cosmos, has lost his anchor. He appeals to the other cosmic entities to intervene. He demands Chandra return Tara.
And this is where the dynamic takes a much darker turn.
Because Chandra doesn't just refuse, does he? He actually seeks asylum with Shukracharya.
Right, the guru of the Asuras.
The demons.
Yes, the master of materialistic, dissenting, often demonic philosophies. This isn't just a random retreat. This is a calculated ideological defection.
It's the mind doubling down on its own toxicity.
Exactly.
When Chandra realizes the entire establishment of divine wisdom is coming after him, he doesn't apologize. He runs to the one place that will validate his theft.
Precisely.
Yeah.
If we map this onto our own cognitive processes, what happens when we refuse to let go of a toxic habit?
Or a deeply selfish desire.
Right. We stop hanging around people who hold us accountable. We actively seek out environments, echo chambers, and philosophies that tell us our bad behavior is actually totally justified.
Oh, wow.
Chandra, aligning with Shukracharya, is the mind actively arming itself with sophisticated, materialistic arguments. It's defending its fallen state against the demands of higher consciousness.
And it creates a complete cosmic deadlock.
Complete deadlock.
You have the forces of wisdom trying to reclaim virtue through appeals to higher truth. And you have the rebellious mind entrenched in a fortress of rationalized desire backed by the Azuric forces.
Right.
The sources literally refer to it as a war that stalls the very progression of the universe.
Because a universe where the mind is permanently severed from wisdom but forcefully attached to a twisted version of virtue is basically a universe of madness.
A psychotic break on a celestial scale.
Exactly. And the gods realize that pure force won't work. You cannot violently destroy the mind without destroying the sentient being itself.
So the resolution requires the mind to essentially exhaust its own obsession.
Right.
The text describes Chandra finally regaining his equilibrium. The fever of the Chaturthi day breaks, the heavy volatile energy lifts, and the moon becomes equipoised.
And in that moment of clarity, he looks at what he has done. The remorse of the mind is instant when the environmental affliction passes.
Like waking up from a bender.
Yes. Chandra recognizes that virtue intrinsically belongs with wisdom. The illusion shatters. And so he returns Tara to Brihaspati.
And the cosmic order appears to be restored.
Keyword being appears.
Right, because the architecture of the universe has fundamentally changed. The union of the mind and virtue, however illicit, was not sterile.
No, it wasn't.
Tara returns to Brihaspati's ashram carrying a child.
This is the catalytic moment we were talking about earlier. The closed loop of Brihaspati and Tara was broken.
And from that violent friction, a completely new energy was conceived.
Exactly.
The birth occurs under a very specific celestial canopy. The texts note that the child is born under the aegis of the Puruava star.
Ah, yes. The Puruava nakshatra is a critical detail here.
Tell us about it.
In Vedic astrology, this lunar mansion is symbolized by the front legs of a funeral cot, or sometimes a two-faced man.
Wait, a funeral cot?
Yes.
That seems incredibly dark for the birth of a beautiful celestial prince. Why would the ancients link the birth of human intelligence to the symbolism of a funeral?
Because intelligence requires the death of illusion.
Oh, wow.
Right. Puruava is the fire that burns away the raw, instinctual, animalistic layers of the consciousness. To birth pure intellect, the old, ignorant self must be cremated.
That is intense.
It is. And the two-faced symbolism represents the ability to look at both sides of an argument, to see the material and the spiritual, the logic and the emotion. It is the ultimate star of deep, penetrating analysis and the painful purification of thought.
So out of this fiery, transformative cosmic oven, the child is born, and the immediate reaction is absolute awe.
The ashram resounds with joy.
The child is described as exceptionally radiant, possessing a beauty that captivates every single deity present.
Even Brihaspati.
Right, even Brihaspati, knowing the complex circumstances, is initially ecstatic. He looks at this brilliant child born of his wife and feels a huge surge of paternal pride.
Which leads to the naming ceremony.
Gathering of the absolute heavyweights of the cosmos.
Oh yeah, Brahma the creator is there, Narada the messenger, and Jairus the ancient sage.
It's a moment of immense political and spiritual gravity.
Yes, and Brihaspati is prepared to formally claim this child. He wants to state that this brilliant new energy is the direct lineage of his divine wisdom.
But Chandra is there.
Of course he is.
The moon, having returned to his rightful place, is watching the ceremony. And right as Brihaspati is about to seal the lineage, Chandra steps forward and publicly stakes his claim.
It's so dramatic.
He points at the radiant infant and says, "That is my son."
It's a phenomenal display of the mind's audacity. I mean, the mind knows what it experienced. It recognizes its own creation.
Even after repenting.
Exactly. Even after repenting, the mind refuses to be erased from the equation of intelligence.
The ashram instantly turns into a powder keg. Brihaspati is outraged. He claims the boy carries his blood.
And Chandra mocks him.
Chandra mocks him, moves toward Tara, insisting no one can deny his paternity. Indra is ready to draw weapons. The war that had literally just ended is threatening to ignite all over again, right over the cradle of this newborn.
It is a clash of epistemologies. Wisdom believes it owns the product of virtue, regardless of the catalyst.
But the mind asserts its foundational role in the creative process.
Yes, the deadlock is absolute, which is why Brahma, the highest executive authority in the cosmos, has to intervene.
Brahma silences the entire assembly. He stops Brihaspati from invoking his rights as the husband.
And Brahma lays down a piece of ancient jurisprudence that is just staggering in its clarity.
What does he say?
He states that neither the husband nor the claimant can judge paternity. He declares, a child's lineage must be proven beyond the least doubt. It is the mother alone who can assert categorically from whose loins springs the child she bears.
Wow. Brahma elevates the matriarchal truth above all patriarchal claims.
Exactly. In this metaphysical framework, Tara virtue is the only one who knows the true origin of the intellect.
Wisdom can claim it, the mind can claim it, but only virtue knows how it was actually forged.
It's brilliant.
So Brahma takes Tara and the child into a private chamber, away from the intimidating presence of both her husband and her former captor.
The tension in that grand hall must have been absolute.
The texts literally describe a pin drop silence. You have the guru of the gods and the lord of the mind glaring at each other, both entirely confident they are the source of this magnificent child.
And when Brahma emerges, carrying the infant, with Tara following behind him with downcast eyes,
the verdict he delivers changes the fundamental understanding of human capability.
Brahma's voice echoes across the cosmos. Chandra is the boy's father.
The mind is the father, not wisdom.
Brahma formally names the child Budha, meaning the awakened one, the intelligent one.
And places him in the arms of the moon.
Yes.
Now, what happens next is a crucial detail about the nature of higher consciousness, because Brihaspati doesn't start a war.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't destroy the child. The texts note that after the verdict is delivered, Brihaspati makes a, quote, Brahmanical forgiving gesture. He accepts the inevitable.
That is the defining characteristic that separates wisdom from mere knowledge or ego. Wisdom accepts immutable reality, even when that reality completely shatters its own preferred narrative.
Wow.
Brihaspati's acceptance is what allows Budha Mercury to take his rightful place in the celestial cabinet. If wisdom had rejected intelligence, humanity would be left in a permanent state of cognitive dissonance.
So we have the complete formula. If we break this myth down into its psychological components, we can literally map how a human being forms an intelligent thought.
Yes, let's map it.
We have the moon, which is the raw, perceiving, chaotic mind.
Correct. The unending stream of data collection, emotional responses, and sensory inputs.
Then we have Tara, representing virtue,
which, in a cognitive sense, represents order, ethical structure, and the pursuit of right action.
And all of this occurs within the overarching environment of Brihaspati, which is wisdom and higher knowledge.
Yes,
So
sir.
Buddha, Mercury, is the direct offspring of the raw mind, intimately engaging with structural virtue within the context of wisdom.
It's an incredible formula.
The ancients are telling us that intelligence is not just being smart. True intelligence is the specific byproduct of the mind applying itself virtuously.
That is the core revelation of this deep dive. Raw mind without virtue is just chaotic ambition or animal instinct.
Right.
Wisdom without the active engagement of the mind is just abstract theory, just connected from reality. But when the raw mind interfaces with virtue, it produces intellect. It produces discrimination. It produces Mercury.
But let me push back on this for a second.
Go for it.
If the birth of Mercury required Tara required virtue, does that mean the ancients believed all true intelligence is inherently good? What about the dark side of intellect? What about evil geniuses or the architects of terrible destruction? They have immense processing power. Are they not utilizing Buddha?
That is exactly why the distinction between the origin of a tool and its application is so critical here.
Okay, unpack that.
The capacity for complex thought, the actual neural pathways that allow for logic and discrimination, could only be forged through the structural order of virtue.
So chaos cannot build a computer.
Exactly. Chaos cannot build a computer. But once that computer Buddha is built, how it is programmed depends entirely on the environment it is placed in.
Oh, I see.
And that leads us directly to the physical and psychological description of Mercury in these texts.
Right. Buddha is described as a celestial prince, eternally youthful, possessing an incomparable, almost mesmerizing beauty.
Yes.
His complexion is very specifically likened to the Priyangu bud.
The Priyangu bud is a dark, soothing, deep blue-green botanical element. It is aesthetically cooling.
And he's given the title Sumya, meaning he possesses benevolent, gentle, and auspicious qualities.
He does.
But why is pure logic associated with aesthetic beauty and gentleness? We often think of logic as cold, harsh, or abrasive, don't we?
We do, but we only think of logic as harsh when it's used as a weapon against our egos.
Oh, that's a good point.
Logic in its purest mathematical form is beautiful because it's perfectly symmetrical. It resolves tension. When you finally understand a complex equation, or when a chaotic situation is suddenly explained with perfect clarity, there is a profound psychological relief.
That aha moment.
Exactly. That relief, that cooling of the mental friction, is the sumya nature of Mercury. Pure intelligence doesn't need to shout. Its mere presence harmonizes the environment.
Which brings us to how this harmonizing force operates in our lives. What is Mercury's actual domain?
Well, the texts say he grants lordship over logic, over discrimination.
Which is the crucial ability to separate the signal from the noise.
Yes, exactly. Over wit and heavily over speech.
Speech?
Speech is the ultimate manifestation of the intellect. The ability to take an abstract, non-physical thought and code it into sound waves and transmit it into another person's consciousness so they understand exactly what you were thinking.
It is a biological miracle.
It really is, and it is entirely governed by Mercury.
And the sources use a very specific, fascinating term to describe the highest echelon of this ability.
Yes, Mimansank.
The Mimansank. A Mimansank is defined as someone who can grasp incredibly dense, difficult, complex points with absolute ease, and then turn around and explain them in a perfectly understandable, perfectly accessible manner.
It is the difference between a scholar who understands a subject but can only speak in impenetrable jargon,
We all know a few of those.
and a true teacher who can explain quantum physics to a 5-year-old.
Right.
The Mimansank possesses both the deep analytical capacity to deconstruct the complexity and the supreme empathetic vocabulary to reconstruct it for the listener.
It's the ultimate cognitive translator. You see this in everyday life all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
You sit in a boardroom while 20 people argue in circles over a massive data set. It's chaotic, it's frustrating, it's raw Chandra energy.
Exactly.
Then one person speaks up, they don't raise their voice, they just synthesize the entire chaotic mess into 3 perfectly logical, irrefutable sentences.
And the room goes quiet.
The tension just vanishes. That person is channeling pure Buddha. They're operating as a Mimansank.
And the ancients didn't just leave this energy in the realm of boardrooms and debates. When the planetary deities were assigned physical dominions on Earth by Lord Shiva, Buddha was given sovereignty over a very specific territory.
The Magadha kingdom.
Yeah.
Why Magadha? Out of all the ancient territories, what makes Magadha the geographical seat of Mercury?
Magadha was the intellectual and political crucible of ancient India. It was the heartland of the Mauryan Empire.
Oh, wow.
It was the home of Chanakya, one of history's greatest political strategists. It was where the great universities like Nalanda would eventually rise.
So it's an intellectual powerhouse.
Exactly. Magadha wasn't just a piece of land, it was an incubator for philosophy, statecraft, and sophisticated empire building. It is entirely fitting that the planet of applied intelligence rules the kingdom that proved intellect can conquer and organize the world.
And the dominion extends even further into the material realm. Mercury's favorite materials are listed as brass, bronze, and pewter.
Yes, the metals.
When I first read that, it seemed like a totally random assortment. But then you realize what those three metals have in common. They are all alloys.
Exactly. They do not exist in a pure state in nature.
You can't just mine a chunk of bronze out of a mountain.
No, you can't.
Bronze is an alloy of copper and tin. Brass is copper and zinc.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand metallurgy, you have to apply heat, you have to measure ratios.
Right.
These metals are the direct result of technological intelligence acting upon raw nature.
It is a stunningly profound metaphor. Intelligence itself is an alloy.
Wow.
You take the raw copper of memory, you mix it with the tin of immediate perception, you apply the heat of the Purvahadra fire, and you forge the bronze of a new, durable idea.
That is beautiful.
Intelligence is a synthetic process. Mercury rules over the things that we create through the deliberate combination of disparate elements.
Now, we have to scale this back up to the cosmos. We know how Budha operates in human minds and earthly kingdoms, but how does this celestial prince navigate the actual geometry of the sky?
Well, the astrological footprint of Mercury in the Vedic zodiac is incredibly intricate.
Lord Brahma decrees that the planets must govern the constellations to maintain the karmic clock of the universe, and Budha is given strict, absolute authority over two specific zodiac signs,
Virgo and Gemini.
which perfectly encapsulates the dual nature of intelligence we've been discussing.
Yes, it really does.
Virgo is an earth sign. It represents the analytical, critical, organized, data-driven side of the intellect. It's the accountant, the editor, the scientist.
Right.
And Gemini is an air sign. It represents the communicative, curious, networking, linguistic side. It's the writer, the debater, the Mimansank.
And Mercury rules both flawlessly.
Oh, right.
But the texts introduce a critical mechanical complication. The system is not perfectly secure.
What do you mean?
The shadow planets, Rahu and Ketu, act as cosmic interlopers.
Right, the lunar nodes. Rahu and Ketu are the north and south lunar nodes. They are the severed head and body of an asura. Because they aren't physical spherical bodies like the other planets, they don't get their own permanent real estate in the zodiac.
They have to operate as squatters.
Squatters.
Yes. The texts specifically note that Rahu's command will sometimes alternate into Virgo, hijacking Mercury's fiefdom, and Ketu will sometimes take charge of Gemini.
Why is that specific intersection so dangerous? What happens when Rahu, the disembodied head of pure obsessive ambition and illusion, takes over Virgo, the sign of pure critical analysis?
You get the weaponization of logic.
Oh.
When Rahu occupies Virgo, the analytical mind loses its sumya, its benevolence. Logic becomes obsessive. It becomes paranoid.
Like a conspiracy theorist.
Precisely. It is the intelligence of the conspiracy theorist who uses brilliant data-gathering skills to construct a completely false, terrifying reality. The shadow planet eclipses the pure light of Mercury, turning analysis into a tool for chaos.
And Ketu in Gemini. Ketu is the headless body representing chaotic, detached, sometimes destructive spiritual isolation.
When Ketu hijacks Gemini, the realm of communication breaks down. Speech becomes fragmented.
Oh, I see.
The ability to connect ideas dissolves into apathy or profound misunderstanding. It illustrates how fragile human intellect really is. It's constantly under threat from the shadows of our own psychological extremes.
But the internal threats are nothing compared to the cosmic family dynamic.
Oh, the family dynamic is wild.
The friendships and enmities between the planets in Vedic astrology are not just arbitrary lists, right? They are deep psychological profiles.
They absolutely are.
We know Mercury is neutral to Brihaspati, Jupiter.
Which makes sense. Intelligence can utilize broad wisdom, but it doesn't strictly depend on it for mechanical processing.
Right. And he is close friends with Venus.
Logic and aesthetics. The Mimansank and the artist. When intelligence is paired with diplomacy and beauty, it is universally persuasive.
But here's the dynamic that absolutely blew my mind, and it loops all the way back to the hook of our deep dive today.
Let's hear it.
Mercury treats his own father, the moon, as an absolute enemy.
And crucially, the moon does not treat Mercury as an enemy.
The moon, the mind, loves his brilliant sun. But Mercury looks at Chandra and feels nothing but animosity. Why? Why does intelligence inherently despise the mind that birthed it?
Think about the operational nature of both entities. Intelligence Mercury wants efficiency.
Right.
It wants a clean equation.
Yeah.
It wants to travel from point A to point B in a perfectly straight, logical line. But the moon, the mind, is a wavy, fluctuating, waxing and waning ocean of feelings, traumas, and desires. The mind is messy.
So Mercury is sitting in his pristine Virgo office trying to solve a complex architectural problem.
Yeah.
And his father, the moon, bursts into the room crying because a sad memory from 10 years ago suddenly surfaced. Or he gets distracted by a passing desire.
Exactly. To the fast-acting, razor-sharp intellect, the emotional fluctuations of the mind are a catastrophic liability. They corrupt the data. They slow down the processing speed.
That makes perfect sense.
Mercury sees the moon as an enemy because emotion is the ultimate threat to pure logic. We experience this every time we know exactly what we should do logically, but we can't do it because our feelings get in the way.
Oh, that frustration you feel with yourself.
That is Mercury declaring war on the moon.
That is just a staggering insight into human biology mapped directly onto the stars. And the friction doesn't end there.
No, it doesn't.
The texts mention that Jupiter Brihaspati, the stepfather, the planet of wisdom, is extremely cautious, or chary, of Mercury. Jupiter actually treats Mercury as an enemy.
Wisdom inherently distrusts raw, rapid intelligence.
But why? Shouldn't wisdom love intelligence? Aren't they on the same team?
You'd think so, but they operate on entirely different timelines.
How so?
Wisdom is built over decades of lived experience, failure, tradition, and slow realization. It respects the long game. Mercury is quick, sharp, and inherently disruptive.
Oh, right.
Mercury can find a loophole in a sacred tradition in 10 seconds. Intelligence loves to hack the system. Wisdom wants to preserve the integrity of the system.
So Brihaspati looks at this fast-talking, brilliant kid who can solve a puzzle instantly, but has absolutely no reverence for the history of the puzzle.
Yes.
And he sees a threat to the established cosmic order. It's the eternal conflict between the elder statesman and the tech disruptor.
Exactly. And this disruptive, adaptable nature leads to the most startling and often misunderstood astrological classification of Mercury.
I know what you're going to say.
The texts explicitly state that Mercury is treated astrologically as a eunuch and is fundamentally linked to impotence.
When I first encountered this in the source material, I was completely thrown.
It's jarring.
We just established that Budha is this brilliant, beautiful, celestial prince who literally initiates massive royal dynasties. How can the texts simultaneously classify him as a eunuch? It feels like a massive contradiction.
If you read the text purely physically, it is a contradiction. But if you read it astrologically and psychologically, it is the most accurate description of pure intellect possible.
Okay, explain that.
In this context, the classification of eunuch does not denote a lack of capability. It denotes the complete absence of a rigid, aggressive, procreative ego.
Meaning he doesn't force his own fixed identity onto a situation.
Precisely. The other planets have hard, unyielding agendas. Mars wants to conquer, Saturn wants to restrict, Venus wants to harmonize. They impose their will.
And Mercury.
Mercury has no inherent will to impose. Mercury is an intellectual mirror. It represents his highly impressionable, perfectly adaptable nature. He is entirely neutral until he interfaces with another force.
It's the ultimate method actor analogy.
Yes.
If you take a world-class actor who has completely dissolved their own ego, they can become anyone. If Mercury is sharing a house with a fiery, aggressive planet like Mars, Mercury doesn't fight Mars.
No, he doesn't.
Mercury absorbs that martial energy and becomes a weapon of sharp, devastating debate.
The intellect becomes militarized.
Right, but if you take that exact same Mercury and place him with a gentle, expansive planet like Jupiter, he becomes a philosophical scholar.
He flawlessly reflects the director he's currently working with.
Intelligence itself is neutral. A brilliant mind can be used to engineer a life-saving vaccine, or it can be used to engineer a flawless, untraceable financial fraud.
Mercury does not care. Mercury simply processes the data according to the company he keeps.
That is why the sages warned that a strong Mercury must always be carefully guarded, because the most powerful processor in the universe is also the most impressionable. It will amplify whatever environment you subject it to.
And despite this neutral, impressionable nature, or perhaps because of it, Mercury leaves a colossal legacy in the mythological history of human civilization.
The texts conclude the origin story by noting that Budha, along with a figure named Ayla, gave birth to a son named Puruava, who became a famously brave and just king.
Ayla's own story is one of profound duality and transformation, making her the perfect counterpart for the highly adaptable Mercury. Together, they generate an entirely new paradigm of human leadership.
Through Puruava, Mercury becomes the literal initiator of the Chandravansh,
The Lunar Dynasty.
one of the two most pivotal, legendary royal lineages in ancient epic history, alongside the Solar Dynasty.
The sages are telling us that human civilization, the building of empires, the structuring of laws and societies, it's ultimately born from the intellect. The physical kings may wield the swords, but the architecture of the kingdom was drawn up by Budha.
Wow. We have traversed an immense expanse of cosmic and psychological territory today.
We really have.
Let's trace the thread back from the beginning, free listening. We started with the ultimate disruption, the raw, restless mind Chandra falling prey to a precise temporal affliction and violently abducting Tara, the embodiment of virtue, away from the protective environment of wisdom.
Right, and we witnessed a celestial standoff that basically paralyzed the universe. It illustrates how the mind will seek out dark philosophies to justify its desires until the sheer exhaustion of the affliction forces it to return to equilibrium.
But the friction of that encounter changed everything. It birthed a radiant new energy in the transformative fires of the Purva star.
A child whose very existence sparked a war of ownership.
Resolved only by the highest authority declaring a profound truth that human intelligence is fundamentally the child of the mind, validated only by the mother of virtue.
And then we explore the mechanics of Budha, the Mimansank, who translates the incomprehensible into the accessible.
The sovereign of Magadha, who proves that intellect builds empires. The ruler of the alloyed metals, proving that true thought is a synthetic, forged creation.
And finally, we decoded his astrological footprint. The beautiful, benevolent prince who rules our analytical and communicative faculties, yet remains entirely impressionable.
A neutral mirror who violently resents the emotional fluctuations of his father, the moon, and is viewed with deep suspicion by the slow, steady wisdom of Jupiter.
It is the complete anatomical map of the human cognitive experience, painted across the zodiac.
So every single time you find yourself navigating a complex problem.
Or using a perfectly crafted argument to de-escalate the situation.
Right, or every time you act as the Mimansank, distilling chaos into clarity for someone else, you're not just firing synapses.
No, you're not.
You are actively channeling the ancient celestial energy of Budha. You are operating the technology that was literally born from a cosmic war.
The legacy of the stars is quite literally housed within your skull.
Which leaves us with a necessary and perhaps slightly dangerous final thought to carry with you.
Yes.
We know that Mercury, the planet of pure intelligence, is the ultimate method actor. He is the most powerful processor in the universe, but he is entirely impressionable. He takes on the exact nature of whatever forces surround him.
So look closely at the orbit of your own life right now.
What kind of planets, people, data streams, and environments are you allowing to exert gravitational pull on your mind today? Are the inputs you are passively receiving making your intellect sharp, benevolent, and deeply virtuous?
Or are they quietly militarizing your intelligence, leading it into a state of war?
Something to think about. Until next time on The Deep Dive, keep your focus sharp, guard your inputs, and never let your mind slip back into the fallen state.